Hey guys, my name is Dean. Welcome to Manflow Yoga. You are about to watch a full-length workout from my online members area here free on YouTube, so you can check it out and see if it's a good fit for you. I encourage you to check out some of the links in the description if you want to learn more about Manflow Yoga, or if you want to get started with a free beginners program. I have a 7-day intro, which is free, no credit card required, and it's an awesome way to get started in just about 15 minutes per day. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. We put out tons of workouts and content every week, and I hope you enjoy this workout. Be sure to like it. Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to Manflow Yoga. This workout is the total body release. It's a 50-minute stretch session focused on restoring your body. So we're gonna do a lot of deep, longer held stretches, not a lot of muscle building here, not really any at all. Most of this is relaxed. You're gonna be sitting on the ground, lying down, kneeling. We're gonna be using 2 blocks and a strap. There are only a couple poses where they're actually full body exercises. So again, the goal here is to relieve stress, release tension in your body. So this is great if you have 1 day off per week and you're sore and you just want to feel good. This is an awesome workout to relieve that tension in your body. So again, the tools we're going to use: 2 blocks and a strap. Make sure to breathe deeply, press beyond your comfort levels. You want to press beyond what's comfortable so you can get that nice, good, deep stretch and have some fun. I hope you enjoy the workout. We're going to get started on your back. So go ahead and lie down and lay all the way down, and we're going to do some hip and some back stretching to get started. So I want you to bring your, don't do that, you don't need to spin, but bring your right knee in tight to your chest and just pull back, and I want you to push your left thigh toward the ground. Now you should feel a stretch through the front of your left hip. It might be a light stretch, but it should be a stretch. And then you're going to bring your left arm up, and you're going to lean over toward the right. So it's kind of like you're doing a standing side stretch, except we're actually not standing. So it's a little easier to do, a little more restorative. Still pressing that left thigh toward the ground lightly, still kind of holding your right thigh in tight. And again, you should be feeling stretched through the front of the left hip, your hip flexor, and then up through the left shoulder. You're going to hold this for 3 breaths. You're lightly pressing your arm up and reaching to the side. So up and to the outside. All right, then go ahead and switch. Bring your left knee in. Hug it in tight. Bring your right leg straight out. Press the back of your right leg toward the ground. Bring your right arm up. And then reach up and over to the left. Again, very similar to a standing side bend or a standing side stretch, but instead you're on the ground. So it's a little easier to do. There's not as much core involvement. And I want you to lightly press your hand away from your body, so you're making your arm longer, and then just reaching over toward the left to get that stretch through the shoulder. 2 more breaths here. All right, and then come back to the middle. Bring your legs over toward the right for a reclined twist. So legs go all the way over to the right. Right hand comes to your left knee. Left arm reaches out to the side as much as you can. You want to have your hips facing out to the side, and your left shoulder is going to be facing straight up. So you're getting a twist to the spine, opening up the hip. You might be feeling stretching through your chest and through your bicep. And once you have all of that down, you have the ribs pulling down through the left side. So you're not letting your chest puff up, but you're pulling the ribs down. Go ahead and look over to the left and then hold here for a few breaths. Let's do 4 deep breaths here. And again, you should be feeling a stretch to the outside of the hip through your chest and through the bicep. So this is helping to relieve stress in your lower back, in your hips, helping your lower back feel better. All right, bring it back to the middle. And we're going to ease over to the left now. And a reclined twist, other side. We're going to bring the left hand to your right knee. Bring your right arm straight out to the side. Pull your right rib cage down and in. So notice I'm not letting my chest puff up, but I'm pulling my ribs down. So my hips are going to face straight out to the side. I'm going to roll back the right shoulder so my chest starts to face up. I want to try and get my right hand to the ground. It might not get there initially, and actually my arm is kind of hovering off the ground right now, but if you hold it for a few breaths, it should get closer. And then look all the way over to the right, so you're getting a stretch through your neck as well. And then hold here, breathe deeply. So in through the nose, and out through the nose. And every exhale, using the exhale to relax your body. So this one's really important to help keep your spine happy. It's just a nice, easy, reclined twist. So if you sit a lot, or if you move a lot too, something that everybody needs. One more breath. All right, come back to the middle. And we're going to go to a happy baby here. So I'm going to have you grab the outsides of your feet. So right elbow is inside the right knee, grabbing the outside of the right foot. Bring your left elbow inside the knee, grab the outside of your left foot. Press your knees to the outside. So you're going to feel a stretch through your inner thighs to the backs of your legs, so hamstrings and adductors. And then you're going to kind of just rock from side to side, just a little bit. So I'm not rocking to the point where I have to maintain balance to not fall over. I'm just kind of moving back and forth a little bit here. And I really want to push my hands into my thighs. So the more I can push my hands into the thighs, the more intense of a stretch I'm going to feel. If you don't want to feel that intense of a stretch, don't worry about pushing that hard. Again, the goal of this is restorative. So we're not trying to achieve any new personal best. The goal is just to help your body recover. If you want, you can try straightening a little more into one leg and then maybe straightening a little more into the other leg, all the while maintaining a really slow, controlled breath. Two more breaths here. Try to drive your knees out. Again, you want to focus on lengthening your thighs, lengthening the backs of your thighs. All right, go ahead and release. We're going to take this up into a light bridge. And if you have a block, I encourage you to grab that. And you're going to put this under your lower back for the bridge. So your lower back is lightly supported. Arms are along your sides. Your knees, ankles, hips are all the same distance. So all hip width distance because your hips don't get any wider. And then drawing your ribs in, maybe lightly engaging the core. And just keeping your feet lightly engaged, pushing into the ground. Not too much. You don't need to push as hard as you possibly can here, but just a little bit of engagement to feel a stretch through the hips. And getting a nice controlled arch to the spine. 3 breaths here. If you want, you can turn the block up a setting. All right, then go ahead and release. Take that down. And we're going to flip over and head into a child's pose. So child's pose, arms are going to be wide, knees wide, big toes touch. Arms are about as wide as your knees. And you can keep your arms slightly active here if you want, or you can relax the forearms down. Up to you. I'd recommend keeping the arms a little active to start, just so we can help get the muscles warm so we can stretch them later. Maybe inching your fingers forward a little more and kind of pulling your chest away from your arms, or pulling the chest away from your hands to get a deeper stretch through your shoulders. Two more breaths. All right, and then moving up to a tabletop position. Let's go through just a couple rounds of cat-cow. So knees squeeze toward one another. And actually, just go ahead and put a block between your thighs so we don't have to worry about that as much. So block between your thighs. Squeeze it tight. Inhale to arch. Exhale to round. Just about 5 of these. Try to focus on lengthening your upper back and your neck here. That's where most people tend to give up a little bit. Couple more. Pulling your head toward your hips, pressing your upper back toward the ceiling. Keeping the arms nice and straight. All right. From here, we're going to go into a supported lizard. So grab your blocks. You're going to step your right leg up. Put your right foot between the block. Crawl your left leg back. Hands are going to go on top of the blocks on either side of your front foot. Back foot untucks. And then just lightly press your hips forward. Use the blocks to lift your chest up. So we really want to focus on pulling the chest forward and upright and allowing the hips to sink forward. So use the blocks. The blocks are really helpful here. They're going to help make this a much more restorative, a much easier stretch. Try to press your right hip toward your right heel. And with the blocks, I'd actually recommend kind of gripping the blocks somehow instead of, you can either come up under your fingertips if you want. That'll get a stretch for your fingertips. You can grip the blocks if you want, but don't just relax your hands into the blocks, because that's going to put some stress on the wrist. So have a light grip somehow with the blocks, or again, come up onto your fingertips and kind of stretch your fingers. Two more breaths here. Nice long hold to open up your hips. All right, and then let's switch sides. So now left leg comes up, right leg is back. Square your hips toward the front. And it helps to just lift your right knee off the ground just a little bit, just to kind of get the hips squared and get the weight into your left leg. And then set it back down. Untuck your back foot. Keep the weight pressing down through your left foot. Pull your chest forward and up. Breathing in through the nose. And exhaling, sinking forward. So depending on your mobility here, you might want to have your fingertips on the blocks so you can get very far upright. So let's say if you have a little less mobility in your hips, you definitely want to get as tall as you can. If you have a little more mobility and you can get your hips closer to the ground, you won't have to get as high away from the blocks. So for me right now, I'm feeling that this is pretty good for me because my right hip is feeling pretty tight. But as I progress into the stretch, I'm probably going to get down to where my hands are gripping the block and I'm not quite as high away from the ground. I also want to make sure that I'm not arching my back here. I'm using the block so I can keep my spine neutral, so I can keep my spine straight. And 3 more breaths here. If you can try and squeeze that right hip flexor, that will help it stretch a little more. Keep your chest facing forward. Just breathing in and out of the nose. All right. Then we go ahead and move into a seated position. And I'm going to have you sit on the block just to make this a little easier, so you don't have to worry about sitting as upright as without a block. So we're going to get into an easy cross-legged position. You want to get your inner thighs facing up, your outer thighs facing down, sitting up nice and tall. So ribs lifting up, abs are somewhat engaged. Again, the block is really going to help out a lot here. Bring your shoulders up, back, and down. Sit up nice and tall, and then just lean your head toward your right shoulder. I'm going to have you grab the outside of your head with your right hand, so grabbing the left side of your head with your right hand, and then press your head into your hand for 10 seconds. So just lightly pushing your head into your hand, making sure that you're keeping the left shoulder rolled back, staying up tall. 5 more seconds, push just lightly. 3, 2, 1, and then relax. And then you're going to notice that your head will come a little bit further to the right shoulder now once it relaxes. And we're just going to hold this stretch and allow the neck and the shoulders to release. Breathing in and out of the nose, feeling the stretch all the way from the outside of your head down to the shoulder. So you're still staying up tall here. Even though this is a relaxed stretch, we still want to press down through the hips and stay nice and tall. Two more breaths. Helps to close your eyes here. All right, and then come back to the middle, nice and slow. And I'm going to switch my legs just to keep it neutral. So now my right leg's going to come under my left leg, get back into my nice seated position, cross-legged. I do recommend using the block there. It makes things a lot easier, so you don't have to worry about your core as much. You can focus on the neck stretch. And then bring your head over to the left side now. You're going to bring your left hand on the outside, or on the right side of your head. And then I want you to push your head into your hand. Again, just 10 seconds, lightly pressing your head into your hand, pressing down through your hips, staying up nice and tall. 5 more seconds. Push a little bit harder. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then relax, and you'll notice that your head's going to fall a little bit further to the left. If you want, you can keep the hand there, just lightly pulling. So feeling the stretch from kind of right behind the ear down to your shoulder. And just slow, controlled breathing. Neck stretching like this is really important because we never do it. We never take the time to do it. And if you do take the time to stretch your neck, it's usually quick. Right? We usually stretch the hamstrings, we stretch your hip flexors, we stretch the glutes, but we very rarely stretch the neck, and we don't do it for a long period of time. So this is really helpful to do to keep your shoulders and your head feeling nice, keeping pain out of your neck. And you might not even notice how good it feels until you actually start doing it on a regular basis. Give this one more breath. And then come back to the middle. And then I'm going to have you pull your chin toward your chest. So pulling back, and then slightly looking up, and then coming down, and then pulling chin back again, and then slightly looking up, and then again looking back down. 3 more of these. So pulling the chin toward your chest, looking up, keeping the neck long, and coming back down. 2 more. Again, pulling the chin in, looking slightly up, and back down. Last one. Pulling the chin in, toward the chest, looking up, And releasing down. All right, switch your legs once more. And again, sit up nice and tall. Lean over toward the right, the head toward your right shoulder. Stay up nice and tall. And then you're going to look down at your right shoulder. So turn to face your right shoulder. Make sure the left shoulder is still pulling back. And you're going to feel a different stretch now, kind of from the back of your head down to the shoulder. So just letting your head relax toward that shoulder, staying up nice and tall. Stretches are more effective when you keep your body active. So even if you're stretching one part of the body, another part of the body stays active. If you want, maybe provide a little assistance with your hand. See if you can guide it down there a little bit more. Get a deeper stretch. Two more breaths. So again, looking down at the shoulder and also leaning your head away from the opposite shoulder. All right, slowly look back toward the front. Bring your head back upright. Switch legs again. Make sure we're staying consistent. And again, stand up nice and tall or sit up nice and tall. Bring your ear toward the shoulder. Lengthen the outside of your neck. And then turn to face your left shoulder. Just nice and slow. Breathing in and out of the nose. If you want, maybe bringing your head a little closer to the shoulder. Just playing with your head a little bit just to get that extra stretch. Woo! You feel that through my forehead. So this is actually one way to relieve headaches is by stretching your neck. You might just have a tight neck. You might just be dehydrated or have a lot of tension in the neck. So I'm going to do a few breaths here. 3 deep breaths. Don't shy away from that tension. Lean into it. Let it release. All right, and then look back to the front. Bring your head back toward the middle. Roll your shoulders out. All right, and let's go ahead and stand up. Bring your toes together, press down through your feet. Bring your arms up, interlace your fingers, lean up and over to the right. Just a light standing side stretch. Pressing your head up, pressing your fingers up, pressing your shoulders a little bit higher to get a deeper stretch through the armpits, through your lats. One more breath. And then back to the middle, breathe back in, lift up. Other side. Arms pressing up. Again, feeling this nice stretch through the shoulders, maybe feeling a stretch through the side of the body. Staying up nice and tall. 2 more breaths. And then releasing. All right, go ahead and let your hands relax down. Take your feet wide, about 6 inches apart. Bend your knees, and actually go ahead and grab a block too while we're at this. We're going to take a nice controlled forward fold. Exhale to fold. Bringing your hands to the block. Keeping your chest pulling forward at first. Kind of pedaling the feet back and forth. Releasing your hamstrings. And then letting your head relax. And if it's easy for you, you can go ahead and take the block down to a lower level. Make sure there's no tension in the back here. You should feel the stretch in your hamstrings, not so much in the lower back. You might feel a release in your lower back, but you shouldn't feel this stretching in your lower back. And then if you want to take the hands all the way down, go for that. And you can also work on pressing your hands closer to the ground.
And that's going to help you stretch your upper back and your shoulders. All right. Go ahead and sit back down, just into a tiny bit of a squat. Squeeze your glutes, lift your arms up all the way, stand up tall, and relax. All right. Bring your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. If that is a little too strenuous for you, just go ahead and use a strap behind your back. So I'm going to interlace the fingers, reach down, pull your chest up, and just kind of hold here for a little bit. Just allowing the chest to stretch, squeezing your arms away from your back, maybe leaning your head from side to side, kind of like we were doing for the neck stretches while we were seated before. And this just helps to open up your chest a little bit more, helps to relax your neck and the shoulders. About 10 more seconds of this. All right, go ahead and release. We're going to move back down to a lunge position. So if you want to use the blocks, you can start off with the blocks, kind of like we had for that lizard we did at the beginning. So right foot between the blocks, left knee comes down. Press your hips forward. Sit up tall, or kneel up tall, or however you want to call that. And then I want you to be able to maintain a good position here with your spine. You might need to bring your left knee up a little bit. We're going to bring the chest away from the ground, bring your arms away from the blocks. Swing your right arm under your left arm for low lunge with an eagle stretch. So we're going to work on pushing the elbows away from your body, pushing your forearms away from your body, and then lifting your elbows higher to get a deeper stretch through the back. This is a little more pressure in your lower body than we've done in this workout so far, so it might feel a little tiring. That's okay. It will almost be done. And we're getting some good circulation to that area, so we are helping that area recover. One more breath. And then go ahead and release. Hands back to the block. Move the blocks back a little bit. We're going to shift your knee back about 6 inches, and then shift your hips back. Start to straighten your right leg into a half split. So you're going to push your right hip toward the ground, reach your toes toward your shin, so you're stretching your calf, and then pull your chest forward and up. You want to think pressing your lower back toward your belly button here, so keeping a nice straight spine, not rounding like this. You don't want to think head to knee. That's not what we want to do here. You want to think chest to toes. Right? So really pushing your chest forward and lifting up. And then with the hands again, try to make sure that you have some sort of grip with your hands, just so you're not just dumping into your wrist. Shoulders are staying relaxed. We're not creating any additional tension here. One more breath. All right, and then go ahead and release. We're going to switch sides. So going into that lizard position again. Left leg forward, right leg back. Get the hips squared. Again, it kind of helps to lift the back knee off the ground, just to get your hips squared, the weight in the left leg, getting a good stretch through your right hip, and then setting back down. And then from here, make sure you have a good controlled spine. Your core is engaged to protect your spine. Come upright into a low lunge. And this time swing your left arm under your right arm. Bring your elbows up. Press your elbows away from you. And again, you do want to keep your hips active here, so make sure you're pushing into your left heel. Left hip is pressing down toward the ground. You should feel a stretch in your right hip as well. Again, this is a little more active than what we've been doing so far. There is more strength involved, but that's okay. Again, getting really good circulation to this area, and that's going to help your legs recover more quickly. and allow you to get back to what you enjoy doing, your other workouts, your yoga workouts, your running, whatever it is, with less soreness. One more breath here. And then go ahead and release. Move your blocks back, shift your right knee back, shift your hips back into the half split. And that lunge and getting the muscles active beforehand also helps you so that we can get a better release through the hamstring. So it sets you up for this half split really well. Again, make sure you're grabbing onto the block somehow, not dumping your weight into your wrist, reaching your toes toward the shin, pressing your thigh toward the ground, pulling your chest forward and up, trying to keep that straight spine. So abs are engaged. Again, you want to think maybe lower back pressing toward your belly button, and even thinking maybe if you can arch the back a little bit, right? Thinking of reaching your tailbone toward the back behind you, then you can get a deeper stretch to the hamstring. Hanging out here for 3 breaths. Easy breathing. All right, and then go ahead and release. And have you stand up and find a wall. We're going to do a chest stretch again. So find a wall. If you don't have a wall, you can also do this on the ground. It's a little more complicated on the ground, but it'll still work. So basically, I'm going to have you line up with that wall. Make your arm into a 90-degree bend, so elbow is level with the shoulder, fingers are facing straight up. Place that against the wall. Pull your body away from the elbow. Lightly press your left shoulder into the wall, and then look to the outside. Now, if you want to get that stretch through your neck again, lean your head toward away from the shoulder that you're stretching. So if I'm stretching the left shoulder, I'm going to lean toward the right shoulder and get the stretch to the neck. And this is opening the chest. Really good for opening up the chest here. So again, just kind of lightly pressing the shoulder toward the wall, and then also creating space in the shoulder. So pulling my body away from my left elbow. And then if you want, maybe leaning your head toward the shoulder, toward the opposite shoulder, to get a stretch through the neck. One more breath here. And then go ahead and release. And we're going to switch sides. So now again, right arm against the wall. If you don't have the wall, I'll show you what we're going to do. If you don't have the wall, you're going to go flat on the ground, just like this. Same position. You're going to move away from your elbow. You're going to lightly roll onto your right side. Press the right shoulder toward the ground. Press lightly down through your left hand. So this is another way to stretch it. It's a little more strenuous, but both will work. So we do 5 breaths here. And again, if you want to lean the head away from the shoulder, if you're standing up here, you want to lean the head away from the shoulder, that's going to help you work into your neck a little bit. I do prefer the stretch on the wall. Stretch on the ground is a little more intense, and there's just a little bit more, there's less room for air. You can have pinching in the shoulder on the ground. It's not going to happen as much when you're up on the wall. 3 more breaths. Again, I'm just kind of lightly pulling my head away from the shoulder. See if I can work a little bit deeper into the neck. All right, and then go ahead and release. All right, and we're going to take it down onto the ground. Grab a strap for this. I'm going to go around the right leg first. Strap goes straight up in the air. Leg goes straight up in the air. Press the back of your right thigh forward. Keep your left thigh lightly pressing toward the ground. And then bring your leg to the inside. So we're bringing the right leg toward the left, keeping the right hip pulling down. We're going to feel a nice stretch through the outer thigh. Now you might start to see your quadricep shaking. That is a good thing. That means that it's working. You want to keep the leg straight if you can, and then keep pulling that leg toward the outside, maybe a little bit higher as well, but that right hip should stay firmly planted on the ground. You don't want it to leave the ground. Three more breaths. So feeling the stretch through the outer hip, through the thigh, maybe some release through the lower back and through the hamstrings and calf as well. All right, bring it back to the middle, and then let's bring it all the way to the outside. So we're going to bring the leg to the outside, keeping the left hip down, and you want to pull the strap up a little bit higher if you want to challenge yourself here and go a little bit deeper. And you're going to squeeze your top of your thigh to help work a little deeper into the stretch. You should feel this on the inside of your thigh. You got 3 breaths here. I've seen people get creative with the strap. If you want, you can kind of wind it around your head like this and then lay down on the strap to hold it in place. Or you can just hold it. That works too. Try to keep the left hip down. So you're lightly pressing your core toward your lower back. One more breath here. And then slowly bring it back up with control, same way you came in. And we're going to switch sides. So go ahead and put the left leg through. Bring your right leg straight out. Press the back of your right thigh toward the ground and bring your leg toward the inside. So left leg is straight, back of the left thigh pressing forward, and bring it to the inside. Pull your left hip toward the ground. Breathing. Always breathing. In and out of the nose. So again, we want to feel the stretch to the outside of the left hip, maybe even through the glute a little bit. Just slowly breathing in and out of the nose. Maybe increasing the intensity of the stretch by pulling the strap up a little bit higher or pulling more to the outside while keeping the hip pulling down. 3 more breaths. And then bring it back to the middle. And we're going to go to the outside. So again, keeping that right hip planted, bringing the left leg all the way to the outside. Squeeze the top of your left thigh. It's going to help you open up the bottom of your right thigh, or the outside, or the inside of your right thigh. All right, we're stretching the inner thigh right here, all the way up to the groin. And if you want to pull the strap up higher, you can work deeper into that. Try to keep your right hip neutral on the ground. Slow, controlled breathing, as always. You should feel a nice deep stretch through the adductors. Maybe even a stretch through the right hip, if you're keeping that right hip down. Two more breaths. All right, and then slowly bring it back up, nice and controlled. Go ahead and take the strap out, and we're going to go into a pigeon from here. So go ahead and come back to a tabletop position, and from there we'll slide into pigeon. So knee to the wrist, foot across the body, outside of the hip facing down, inner thigh facing up. Crawl your left leg toward the back. Relax your hips toward the ground. Maybe crawl the left leg back a little bit more than you're used to. Your body should be pretty relaxed by now. You should be able to work pretty deep into these postures. Bring your arms out in front to help set up. And start slowly and kind of gradually shifting the weight into your hips. You should feel the weight right in the right glute right now. Your hands are just kind of stabilizing you. Shouldn't feel any weight in the knees. If you are, bring your heel in a little bit closer to your groin. And you can also lean a little bit more toward the right. Try to keep your spine neutral here. So if you notice that your back is rounding, maybe lift up a little bit more. And if you are maintaining a neutral spine and you want to sink a little deeper into it, maybe come down to the forearms. But keep the chest aimed forward. 3 more breaths. All right, go ahead and roll out, and we're going to switch sides. Pigeon, other side. So again, left knee toward the left wrist, left foot across the body. Get the inner left thigh to face up, the outer left thigh to face down. Crawl your right leg toward the back, kneecap facing straight down, toes facing straight back. Squeeze your right leg lightly in toward the middle. Use your arms out in front of you to just get set and slowly shift that weight into your hips. So as you inhale, kind of maintaining the position. And as you exhale, relaxing into it. So my left hip's a little bit tighter than my right hip. You might have one hip that's tighter as well. And that just means it's not going to be as easy for me to sink into it. And that's okay. Whenever you're ready, maybe bringing the forearms to the ground, keeping that length through the front side of your torso in the process. Targeting your outer left hip here. 3 more breaths. Really slowing down your breathing. One last breath. All right, roll out. And we're going to go into a frog from here. So frog is a pretty intense stretch for your inner thighs. You're going to rest on the insides of your knee. I know that sounds horrible. It's not as bad as it sounds. If you have a mat that you can fold, start to fold that mat in. If you have a cork mat, you may need a towel. So use a towel. I would put it kind of right here, or even 2 washcloths would work very well here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my knees wide, like so, resting on the insides of my knees. I'm going to line up my ankles directly behind my knees. So notice that my ankles are not inside my knees like this, but they're to the outside. I want to lift my belly button up, so keep my core tight. And then I'm going to shift my hips back a little bit here. Using my exhale to work deeper into my hips. And then maybe bringing the forearms down here, but keeping the chest pulling forward slightly, so keeping my core tight. Maybe opening up the knees a little bit more. So the way you work deeper into this pose is by making the knees wider or by shifting your hips further back. All right, we're going to spend 10 deep breaths here. So a long time, but this pose really takes a long time to work. It compared to other postures in yoga, This is one pose that you need to hold for a long time to really get the desired benefit, which is
Opening up your inner thighs.
opening up the groin. Now every exhale, if you want, you can think about working deeper into this. So you can move your hips back just a tiny bit with every exhale,
Or don't move your hips at all. If you're feeling this and it's
plenty of pressure, plenty of intensity, don't worry about moving your hips back. But if you want to challenge yourself and get more flexible, use your breath to work deeper into this. We've got about 4 more breaths.
just 2 more left.
Relax. Let your knees open up. Let them relax. Let them release. All right, now the fun part. Put the weight back into your hands. Lean forward a little bit. Now, bring your hips forward, and then bring your feet in one by one, gingerly. And then shift your hips back. Slowly lift one knee. Bring it in a little bit. Lift the other knee. Bring it in a little more. And then one knee at a time, coming back in toward a neutral tabletop position. And go ahead and just stay here for a little bit. So don't move. Just let your hips settle. Just let them reset. Just giving your hips a time to settle. It's a chance to settle. Maybe lightly moving your hips up and down. All right. Then go ahead and lie down on your back and have you go into a butterfly position with your arms in goalpost arms. So lie down all the way on your back. Press the soles of your feet together. Relax your hips toward the outside. Try to bring your butt closer to your heel and keep your spine neutral here. So we're going to lightly engage the core. So you don't want your belly button way off the ground like this, but keeping that core tight and neutral. Lower back just slightly lifted off the ground. And then you're going to bring your arms up into goalpost arms. And we're just going to hang out here. So getting a nice stretch for your hips, tightening your glutes to help open the hips a little more. And then getting a stretch through your shoulders. If you want, you can think of straightening the shoulders here. It's up to you. Or keeping them at goalpost arms. And just relaxing here for 1 minute. Just allowing your shoulders to relax, allowing your hips to relax, your spine to release. Don't worry so much about technique. Just deep breathing. Close your eyes for sure. That's going to help. It's going to make this more enjoyable. Couple final breaths. All right, and go ahead and open your eyes. Bring your hands to the outsides of your legs. Lightly close your legs. Bring your knees back together. Feet about hip width distant, and just kind of move your feet or your knees from side to side. Just getting some movement back into your legs once more. All right, and then any other stretch that you feel that you want to do right now, go for it. So if I miss something, if you want to do one more thing, your body is really open right now. Really relaxed, so it's a great time to do any additional stretching that you want to do. Maybe you want to do a little bit more hamstring work, or you want to stretch your shoulders, or you want to do another pec stretch, or you want to do those neck stretches again, go for any of that. You are more than welcome to. But that is the end of this workout, or this stretch session. So thanks for joining me today. And if you're watching this from the members area, thank you for being part of the Manful Yoga community. It's awesome to have you here. Let me know what you thought of the workout. So leave a message or write a comment. Let other people know what you thought. If you like this workout, add it to your saved workouts. That way it'll show up on the homepage whenever you click, whenever you log into the members area. And if you're watching this from somewhere else, maybe Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, I don't know what other platform this might be on, but if you're watching from somewhere else, click the like button. Make sure to share it with your friends if it's not pirated. And then, yeah, if you want to get full workouts and see the rest of the programs and the tutorials, head to manfulyoga.com. It's just $1 for unlimited access for 7 days. So, yeah, that's it. My name is Dean. Again, this is Manful Yoga. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you on the next video.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that workout. Hope you learned something new. Try to make these workouts very helpful in terms of technique, in terms of learning how to properly engage muscles and build strength with yoga. If you're looking for more workouts, I encourage you to check out the rest of the videos on this YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure I have over 1,000. And if you want more, if you're looking for an organized program to get started, I highly recommend checking out the Manful Yoga members area. It's just $1 to get started with a 7-day trial. So thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to like this video if you liked any of it. It's really helpful, and I hope to see you on future videos.